The LCK has just taken their first win of Rift Rivals 2018. They might have lost it last year, but this could be the first step to trying to reclaim the title that has evaded them. Welcome back, everyone. Once again, I'm Dom, joined with Papa and Clement, and let's get right into this. SKT versus Machi. We saw Machi earlier today. We've got a brief idea on their form, but SK Telecom coming into this, they're not coming in as the world champions or the heavy favorites. Papa, what has happened? What is the state of SKT for those of you who haven't been watching the LCK?
I'm going to be honest with you, Dom. The question I get asked the most isn't, hello, it isn't a statement like that. It is literally,
how are you feeling?
It's not, they don't care about that.
Yeah,
All they want to know is what's going on with SKT and what's going on with my boy FLICKR. That's what everybody is asking about. And the answer's been very unclear. SKT very publicly have played around with their roster. We saw them sub out everyone, including FLICKR. FLICKR was on Tarek. People did not like that at all.
No.
But recently, they've got it together a little bit. They've definitely been able to win some back-to-back series. They're 3-1 in series play recently. They took down KT Rolster, which is kind of its own enigma as to whether that's a sign that SKT's back or just the rivalry and KT's disappointment. But the good thing I can tell you about SKT is they settled on a lineup. They're like, all right, we know what our strongest five is. They didn't know that for a long time. They didn't bring their strongest five here. Effort isn't here at this tournament, and Wolf is going to be representing. So that's another kind of curveball, is that we will not be seeing Wolf playing in this game. But regardless, the thing that I think is the biggest takeaway is that FLICKR is playing everything. Everything is in his champion pool. His last game out was on Poppy. Literally unlimited potential for champion pool here for FLICKR.
Yeah, just a really rare opportunity to talk to Papa Smithy about the best team that used to be the best team in the world. I looked down at the stats from SKT, and they have a lot of depth.
Oh,
talk about FLICKR.
No.
Talk about Wolves. Talk about Thaw.
That's not stats.
They're all top three, and it does seem like when they go in, there's less cohesion on the team. And I kind of want to ask you, do you think SKT is in this form right now because the meta forces people to play proactively, or is it because just the teams that's gone stale? They've played together for so long, maybe some of the cogs aren't turning anymore. What do you think? How would you attribute it?
Well, I need about an hour and a half for that one, so maybe we can record it afterward. But the short version is the meta over time has made the game forcibly faster with Rift Herald. That definitely has hurt SKT. SKT have different cavalry this year. There isn't a top lane carry. There's Tal who's still finding himself. There's Untara who hasn't worked. They haven't really found confidence in any roster until now, and that's why team stats for SKT are almost irrelevant because they're really only about who they're playing recently.
Well, their opponents in this one are going to be Machi. You just saw their lineup: 3Z, Crash, Apex, Duel, and Dreamer, and SKT bringing in the 5. Tall, FLICKR, Blank, Bang, and Wolf. I haven't even got the order right. I'm just excited to see FLICKR.
Yeah, SKT, they did field 9 players this split so far for Pirin in the mid lane, FLICKR sitting on the bench even, and of course, Effort sitting up over Wolf as well. So, you know, this SKT squad is the one that I think a lot of people will remember fondly. Wolf coming back, World Championships on his ring as well. This is kind of like a reunion for us. Only the top laner is different. So, no, it's a fun times to see SKT back in this form.
Certainly is. Of course, we do have a matchup that we do have to highlight in that mid lane. FLICKR is still putting on a great performance. His opponent, Apex, on the other side, is going to be trying to bring that down. But, of course, we aren't going to get the chance to see that as Mission is coming in into this one. So perhaps maybe Mission can be the one that brings FLICKR down.
I need to zoom in on FLICKR. It's not just because of my LCK allegiance. It's what's he playing today? Because again, Poppy, Darius, Jax, mid lane, Aatrox. He's playing everything. Aatrox is back. Could we see Aatrox mid lane from FLICKR? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, but there's putting Mission in for another reason as well. This is going to be the Demon Lord versus one of the Cheese Lords. Because we've seen Mission with the Jace mid lane as well. The only reason they're bringing him when Apex has been playing the first game is those special picks.
Any predictions? Anything super crazy you've heard about?
Predictions? Okay.
We got 140 champions in mid lane at this point.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about the picks that he's at. He did the Gangplank. He's did the Syndra before as well. Syndra's one thing that he's known for. And also, of course, the Jace, which he's done as well. So
let's put it this way. What would you want to see against FLICKR? If he is the Cheese Lord and he could bring out anything, are we looking at like Zyra?
Give me the Quinn, baby.
Zillion?
Roll in
Quinn
that
in the mid lane. There it is.
Ignite, let's go.
All right. We'll get the chance to see that in just a moment. That said, it's time for us to get into game between SKT and Machi.
It certainly is, Dom. Raz and I have got our dancing shoes on because the hip-hop crew of Machi Esports going up against the most dominant team in LOL history, being SKT. Now, they've kind of fallen from grace, though, Raz.
Kind of.
Didn't do well in the spring split. Didn't represent the LCK for the first time at MSI. Now coming into Rift Rivals as the 4th seed and not having a great summer split either.
Yeah, 4th seed. Now they're the 7th place team right now in the LCK. It's not looking too good. One thing that I want to latch on to that Papa Smithy said it earlier on is that Effort is a damn good support, especially when he has the Pyke. So Wolf coming in for this tournament, really want to see what he actually has for us here on the table.
So now we'll have to see if this 5-man roster from SKT, starting with Blank in the jungle, Blossom not coming in for this first match, is going to be the roster that works for them at Rift Rivals. Into Champion Select for their first match of the tournament, and also Machi's last match in the group stages. Already played one today where they got taken down, now playing their second and final match for the LMS.
Ooh, and we're already seeing Zoe hover. One thing that, you know, Clement promised me, I'm saying it loudly because he's definitely on the desk, is something cheesy. And Zoe isn't cheesy, Clement. Oh my God, please get him off the desk.
I don't know who you talk to, Raz. Zoe is pretty cheesy. That champion's sometimes very disgusting.
No, I mean, yeah,
Redemption.
cheesy.
Have you seen Double Redemption bottom lane?
I've seen a Redemption flying to the bottom lane from Scout. I see her getting exhaust after, I mean, please, it makes me upset to see this champion being played.
But it's locked in for Machi as their first pick. Yasuo, Morgana, and Pyke were banned out by Machi. Surprising, especially with Wolf being played as the support for SKT. Tahm Kench, Taliyah, as well as Nocturne were SKT's first 3 bans.
It seems like they were just set on the strategy regardless of who was playing in the bottom lane. Morgana and Pyke makes a lot of sense. That's what SKT's bottom lane is just rounding itself out to be, because Bang is not playing marksman anymore. Makes me sad. I mean, that being said, he has a lot of Ezreal games, but ultimately it has been working very well from them. So just taking away the Morgana and Pyke makes the game in the bottom side a lot more active, a lot less lame, allows for them to go for that Alistar pick.
And we've also seen the support pick for SKT being Rakan. Now in the LCK, Swain is played more in the mid lane, but has been picked up in the bottom lane by a couple of teams. Want to see where that flex pick goes for the LCK squad. The side of Machi, Sejuani was locked in as their jungler of choice in the first 3 drafts.
Yeah, and I really do wonder if SKT is just going to put FLICKR on Galio duty. I mean, he doesn't have his Yasuo anymore, so now they're just putting him on potato mode. I'm okay with it. I mean, it just
You're okay with FLICKR, probably the best play we've seen in League of Legends, being put on potato mode?
Let me expand, senor. I'm okay with it because we're going to be seeing action. We just got out of a game that was 1-1 between both teams, and
a
we
resident sleeper of a match.
Hell yes, it was. And now we have Rakan, Galio. If they do not do something with the tools that they have available to themselves, I will be an upset Raz.
I believe Ejim from the OPL was telling me that Galio and Rakan, when Galio was first reworked, was an unstoppable combination. So SKT are going to be able to use the crowd control that it provides, as well as that damage, that consistent damage that Swain has in the bottom lane position, most likely, to try and come out on top in team fights, taking away Heimerdinger as their first ban in the second ban phase, Trundle being banned out by Machi.
Yeah, focusing on the bottom side of Machi. One thing that I want to, set in the back of people's head is that Machi, playing between Nishan and Apex, Apex has an absurd kill participation rate. 91% for the mid laners in the LMS. Ooh. Insane. Number 1. Mission follows behind that number 3 with the little games that he's played at 83%. And you're like, that's actually ridiculously high. Just shows that no matter who comes in and slots into the position, that they just play around the mid lane. So the mid lane is going to be a primary focus. If Zoe gets ahead, Alistar and Sejuani are going to be converging on that lane, or if she ends up leaving.
Yeah, Crash, when he went to the World Championships last year, was talking about how he didn't like playing these champions like Sejuani. When he was playing on 1907 Fenerbahce, he kept saying that he wants to play Crash style, he wants to play the Nidalee, wants to be aggressive. Same thing happened when we saw him on Vici. He wanted to play these aggressive champions, but keeps being put on these tanks. Potentially is because they're funneling into their mid lane players?
Yeah, it just seems like whenever he finds himself on a team, the team's not around him. Of course, he's being slotted into the teams a lot of the time. So I grew up, or at least I watched a lot of Vici's game when they were playing on the LSPL.
Back in 1998 when I was watching the LSPL.
Oh yeah, I was watching with my Super Nintendo and seeing him play up his Lee Sin games. He was a phenomenal player, and you could see him really wilding out. Problem is, he's had to learn how to play the slower games, and especially on Machi, where he has to take a backseat work with Dreamer a lot more because he's honestly dying so many times warding on a solo mission, so he needs to learn how to play the macro style.
Yeah, all you people on Twitch and YouTube have these fantastic platforms to watch League of Legends from. Raz and I, we had to listen to it on the radio. That's what it was like back then watching these teams play.
Below the cassette so we can watch the League of Legends.
The final bans coming up, we're going to be Kled from SKT, as well as Aatrox being taken away by Machi. Darius locked in for Machi, hovering over the Mordekaiser as well.
Please.
There's your cheese. You wanted some good, Raz? It's right there.
I mean, it's not Mission playing it, so Clement is not off the hook.
Doesn't matter.
I still love what I see from Machi's bottom side. So the one when we were seeing a lot more mages and bruises on the bottom side of the map, the one lane that I clung onto that was super fun to watch was Mordekaiser and Alistar, because you know, melee bottom laners had such a difficulty in terms of engaging. Right now it's Rakan, Xayah. How does Rakan actually engage in this lane, knowing that every single time he gets popped up, Mordekaiser just sends the mace hammering down?
Ooh, going to be a lot of damage coming out from Machi's bottom lane. We already mentioned their last match here in the group stages of Rift Rivals. SKT's first showing here. They'll have another match to be played tomorrow. They're picking up the Lovers lane and the bottom lane of Xayah Rakan while sending Swain to the top side of the map against this Darius.
Oh, okay, there we go. So primarily Thal getting a lot of the, I would say, resources topside, hasn't been making quite a lot of use out of it in SKT. So what I would love to see, what's going to happen, because there's a Rakan Xayah in the bottom lane with Galio with Camille, go towards the bottom lane, leave the Swain out of it. If he has teleport, then he can come in flying in. That's fantastic to see. But it seems like SKT coming into this, focus is on point. Get Bang ahead. Make FLICKR be the secondary carry in this one. And you can see SKT how they end up winning this.
So that's who you think they're going to focus around, because they've got that Galio-Rakan combo to lock down multiple members. Are we looking towards Bang to be the main character? Because he also said that they're putting a lot of resources towards Thal as well.
Yeah, and you know, we've seen quite a bit of Aatroxes and Trundles, and a lot of it is just that the SKT has always tried to build up their top laners. Thal has always wanted to play carry top. The problem is that competition on the top side of the map in the LCK is super strong, and Thal has just been performing poorly in the LCK. So that's just been not working out well for him. He's got to be playing up. Sure, you can play your Swains, but don't play a low econ mode.
And he's up against his former teammate, Raz. Crash used to camp the top lane for him back when they were playing on Red Bulls in the EUCS. Now they're going to be facing off against one another, not only on different teams, but different regions as well.
Yeah, if I remember this one properly, that it was actually Muujin. I was on that one, if I remember it properly. We'll have to roll the tapes on that one. But I love hearing that point, because the Sejuani being picked up for Crash, I would love to see which lane he ends up focusing. If he can go towards the mid lane on Zoe, or actually just make Crash, Thal's life a living hell, that would be excellent.
If he can make his life a living hell, that would be fantastic.
I'd be happy.
It was Muujin looking at the complete wrong page here, so I'm throwing that away. That page is now off.
Crumple it up in front of my eyes. I want to see it. Well, you have a lot of important information. Don't do
but
it!
It's crumpled now, right? So
I didn't want you doing it.
Gone. Unfortunately, we're not getting into the match just yet. Hopefully, we'll be able to resolve the technical difficulties that they are having, be able to get into this 5th game of the day.
So it allows you to take a step back and really look at the compositions. For me, SKTs is something that I love seeing. I know a lot of LPL teams come onto the scene and make teams pay with that kind of one. In fact, when SKT was going up against WE in Kaohsiung last Rift Rivals, WE were taking victories off the same damn thing. Off of the Jarvan, Galio, Kog'Maw, a lot of it was allow your AD carry on the back to just output the damage, while FLICKR, Blank, can be the one setting it up for them.
Well, let's see if they can set up the plays for SKT and allow Bang to hit it home, allow Thal to get all the damage in there, or if Machi in their final match of the group stages can cause an upset and take down SKT. We're getting onto the Rift for the 5th match of today.
That's right, even FLICKR gets those Jayos.
5 matches in, the crowd still giving chance for both Machi as well as SKT going into the 5th match. We're going to have to see how this game starts out. But so far, both teams just spreading across the river as fanning out, checking if anyone's going in for any of the early or late invades. And a fun fact about Machi, Raz.
Hit me.
This team has fielded the oldest competitive player in League of Legends history.
Oh no, tell me, who is it?
when they were playing in the GPL, back to when the LMS region was locked in with Southeast Asia, unfortunately 2 of their players got suspended. Now, they had to bring in their substitute, but that's not enough. They needed another player. They couldn't get another player in time.
Unfortunate.
So the owner of Machi, who is a very famous hip-hop star, his in-game name was Big Brother. I think he was hovering around gold plat at the time.
Okay, that's good.
Registered as a player and played a few professional matches for Machi. He was 41 years old.
Oh no! Are they getting beat by a dad? That's
Unfortunately, I don't think he was able to pick up a victory in those matches, Rez, but he is the oldest player to play, is the owner of Machi as well. In fact, being co-owned by Civ HD now, which a lot of people from the Western audience would know.
Oh, damn. Well, you know what? I hope he doesn't make a highlight reel play.
Hopefully Big Brother doesn't come back for Rift Rivals, because they're looking to try and take down SKT, but an early gank coming out from Blank.
Yeah, if this is going to be on Civ HD's highlight reel, I'll be pretty upset, because 3Z's about to get it.
Triple Z a little bit sleeping in the top lane, has to flash away from the grass coming out from Thal, still gets locked down and pulled back from Swain. Red buff's going to slow him down, but they don't have enough damage to take him down to the top lane.
Early flash, you always want to give them props for that one. It was interesting because you usually want to see a flash in response to Blank's, but he didn't want to just say, okay, well, you know, Blank's going to blow his flash to essentially follow up. I don't care about Blank losing flash. I just care about my own damn HP. That's essentially what ended up happening. So 3Z comes out alive in it.
And it's something you have to watch out for whenever you go up against, say, Camille, because Camille can go for that first buff, go for a level 2 gank nice and early, which we saw just then. Slows down Blank's jungle pathing slightly. It's only cleared the red buff on his side, whereas the entire blue side and Scuttle Crab has been picked up by Crash.
And that's the respect that both junglers actually end up giving to each other. Crash understands that his major priority is going to be in farming. So as long as both teams spanning out level 1, he should be safe to clear up his own camps. You have to recognize that Camille is going to go for a level 2 gank. It's going to happen. The LPL happens bottom side a lot, and solo queue, a lot of it just comes through mid lane, especially if you're eyeing down a Galio with top flash. You have to watch out for that one. It was just unfortunate that 3Z really hard committed towards clearing up the wave topside while having a proper ward to catch out a jungle from coming up top.
But survived, was able to go back to base, picked up a couple of health potions for himself and teleports back into the lane. Bottom side of the map, we finally get to check in with both Movecow as well as Mordekaiser, just farming against the Xayah Rakan combo.
And look how fun it is. You know, Triumphant Roar, Alistar heals you. Mordekaiser, heals himself. He's not as gracious. I guess he does have Guardian, so he'll shield you. So they just feel so confident walking in. And if you ever look for an all-in engage, Duel has exhaust. So you got nothing. That's why Wolf has to watch out if he continues to go for those plays, because he's going to be losing those trades.
Exhaust and Ignite, double Targons in the bottom lane as well. Yes, they're behind a bit of CS, but Duel will be starting to get ahead when it comes to experience. Mordekaiser does not lose experience in a duo lane. Get the same amount that a solo laner would.
Yep.
But nothing too much happening. It's fairly passive. Even Zoe against Galio in the mid lane. Mission has not been able to lock down. FLICKR did send him back to base and forced him to use his teleport very early into the match.
Yeah, FLICKR's doing quite a good job. The one problem that I have right here is that Wolf and Bang are pushing up. Dreamer and Duel have this wave in a pretty good spot. Now, that being said, Crash is basing, but had an opportunity to look for a gank bottom lane. Most teams would actually go for that, knowing that Dreamer has his flash available, and put the pressure on towards the bottom lane of Wolf and Bang.
And that lane is slowly equalizing, slowly being pushed back, kept in the middle of the river at the moment between Machi and SKT. You're right about the mid lane as well, just clearing up waves, no major pressure. In fact, no pressure across the rift, Res. Top side is just a farm fest, so is mid lane, so is bottom lane.
Usually,
what's happening?
You'd see some more action on the side of SKT as they play towards FLICKR ordinarily when he has his Yasuo picks. He wants to be styling. That being said, it seems like M17 have a play in their mind.
So do SKT. Both Blank as well as Crash have made their way into the top lane. Crash waiting in the second brush. The Apprehend doesn't connect onto Thal, and Triple Z taking a bit of damage. Is going to spot out Crash though as he walks into the brush. Tries to charge on towards Blank. Hook shots onto the wall. Stuns Darius, but very low. Crash goes forward. So does Thal. Burning a flash from Blank. Getting him back to safety. Counter gank, not quite what Machi wanted, but it succeeds in repelling Blank.
Yeah, remember the skirmishing around Sejuani and her passive, very hard to do. You don't want to try for it. Dreamer is respecting the pressure of FLICKR. FLICKR's not walking away. He understands why Wolf is going to be in the area. So there's a lot of respect and pressure happening here. I would say that Blank probably should have paid a little bit more respect because skirmishing into Sejuani, as I said, due to her passive, and 3Z doesn't need mana to actually get his damage across, while Thal does need his, and he doesn't have much at all. So that was just a risky play from SKT. They tried to go for it, didn't work out. At least they didn't die.
Nope. They still burn a summon as well, and now both supports, as you mentioned, moving into the mid lane. FLICKR realizing that Wolf and Dreamer here means that Mission and FLICKR are just going to continue to farm and do absolutely nothing against one another. Just trying to get a recall, it seems, with the both of these mid laners. I mean, would you be?
A little bit.
Of course.
Tiny bit.
Get the heck out of my lane. Go back to the bottom lane. It's mid lane. It's just one-on-one. That's how it works, right?
Thankfully, I will say that. I mean, look at this. You're going to be saying that, but FLICKR is probably the worst achiever. He just wants to make it a numbers game. So right now, hitting 6 for himself. He just wants to find the one opportunity that he gets out of this laning phase, a push to the mid lane, once he, after finishing that blue buff, and then he can look towards bottom side off the engage that Wolf is providing for him. So Wolf, unfortunately, is level 4.
He's not 6 yet.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time.
That's going to be a lot more difficult to actually look for that play. And remember, no flash on Blank, so if he joins the play, that just means that they need to make it perfect initially, or the counter engage coming in from M17 is going to be really difficult.
So how are SKT going to set up for that? Because Crash has accelerated ahead of Blank. It's 50 CS to 33 in favor of Machi's jungler. He's looking towards top side about keeping Triple Z safe here. If they want to attack bottom lane, how do SKT get access to it?
SKT, I mean, getting access to bottom lane for SKT should be fairly easy as long as they play some deep, I'd say river wards right now. Right now it's being fully controlled from Duel and Dreamer because they've had full push in the bottom side of the map.
As you can see now, putting wards down.
But as long as they can try and contest that, as long as they can look to defend bottom lane, make it a longer lane, naturally it is because Duel and Dreamer are pushing up on that one, so that when FLICKR and Blank can join, if it's a proper team fight, they're chasing them down a super long lane towards M17's own tower. So this could actually turn into a proper play where, yeah, they're getting pushed in, they may be losing some experience, but this is a really good opportunity for SKT if they're willing to take it. Okay, I don't like that.
Raz, nothing happened.
Upsetting.
He exhausted the Galio, put FLICKR to sleep, picked up a redemption, and FLICKR's now back close to full health.
You know, my League of Legends, I love it when people are punished for their mistakes.
We are a curse. Raz, you and I, we are the resident sleeper casting duo right now. 8 minutes, 30 seconds. No kills, no turrets, no major objectives.
You gotta build up the tension, Fish. You gotta be able, sometimes the kills aren't dished to you. In fact, they may never happen. But as long as people think that it's going to happen, take a look at this. They're in close proximity to each other. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Oh, there is going to be a kill, Raz.
No! Run.
So he's alive.
He
just dives. He dives into the river. He acknowledges that you asserted dominance, and now that he has to help you, provide vision.
Is that what happened?
He doesn't die. Scuttle Crab never dies.
Okay.
He just belongs to the river.
I'm willing to believe that.
But that's the only kill we've seen so far. It's been a very slow match. If SKT are looking to attack the bottom lane, they probably have to wait for Wolf to hit 6. What are Machi meant to do?
But look, I'm actually blaming Machi on this one. I think Crash has been trying to defend topside more than he should be looking for plays in the mid lane. A lot of the times, he has the key to the city right now. You know, the fact that he was able to hit 6 so easily without Blank really finding any lead in the top side of the map, he shouldn't be top lane. That just shouldn't be happening unless the Mission has a freedom there. Go mid first, then move to the next lane. I don't care what lane it is, as long as you make it a 3v1 dive in the top side of the map, or on the bottom side of the map, you can make it a 4v5. I don't really care. But he's not going for the first step. In fact, the Mission is only pushing mid, and that's what happens. As long as you can tag team, great. But right now, it's a solo mission from Crash.
He's picking up a nice bits of farm for himself, 65 to 50 against Blank. Machi have not made that aggressive play just yet. We just saw that in 6 of the games that SKT have played in the LCK, they've only been ahead at 15. Only 6 times. In fact, they're currently sitting technically 8th on the table, 3 and 5 in score.
I'm gracious, man. I'll give him stuff.
Machi's not having a good split either. They're currently 0-3 in the LMS.
But SKT coming into this one are favorites.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. And the reason why a lot of the times they don't end up getting these leads, I mean, if you feel like you have that FLICKR insurance in the back pocket, you play towards it. This time around, they're playing towards Bang. Bang, an exceptional carry historically. We'll see if it ends up coming across. That being said, we got ourselves a pet dragon.
Feels like a time for SKT to attack there, right? Its dragon's been taken, but Machi, good control over the river, got good wards down. SKT didn't know till it's too late. Now they've got a dragon for themselves, and Door's going to walk it down the bottom lane to continue adding pressure onto Bang as well as Wolf.
And had they had the vision of their understanding that was a play that was being made, it would have been working out well for themselves. Blank is in the position to respond, but remember Galio's pinned underneath his own tower. Zoe's coming here. So M17 is actually in a really proper position with the dragon. So just play it back and let the pet do his thing.
Damage, but Door's just using it to poke at both Bang as well as Wolf, clear out these waves. No major play being made by Machi on the bottom side of the map. It has, however, kept Blank in this bottom lane. It's been looking to see if anything does happen so we can get a counter going. We go back to farming, we go back to mid lane where Mission's actually zoning FLICKR at the moment, but Wolf as well as Blank.
Let's go.
Flash, respect Flash coming out from Mission as well, getting away from FLICKR. Summon spells Blank.
There we go. I mean, that's already the best play that was made in the game. Let's see if this one turns better.
He's going to be caught out of position. Ignite is ticking from Mission, puts him to sleep, looking for the paddle star. Good damage, locked down, and it's first blood to crash.
Where are you going? I mean, look, he didn't have flash. He was stuck behind the wall. There's no way for him to go. So, Mission, crash. Exceptional play to follow up with the ultimate, so he was just sitting still, and now they can take this mid lane tower.
They bring Dreamer into the mid lane, they keep Crash here with Mission, they chip away the mid lane outer, but they're not going to be able to take it down with everyone collapsing. One more player going to be put to sleep. Wolf tries to dash away. But Mission's always looked good so far.
Yeah, so far so good. Just play to it, please. And so, like, I understand what Crash is thinking. It's actually very difficult to ever find a hard advantage if you're ganking a Galio. He has a dash, resolve, primary tree. He's super tanky. You're not going to get the kill. You'd be lucky if you get a flash out of him. But a lot of it is that you're supposed to take it to the next step. You push him out of the lane, that should be good enough. You get vision control. Yeah, they've been doing well on the bottom side of the map, but then you make use of it and actually, you know, lead her to the bottom lane. That still needs to be done. While you still got the kill on towards FLICKR, bottom lane tower is still up. You chipped at it. Now you got to be able to take it down. These are steps that they need to, you know, take. Processes that you need to have if you want to take down SKT.
But they still picked up a lead for themselves. 1,500 head 13 minutes in, which is a decent lead to have. Do you think that they have to snowball even harder here? It's an SKT that has the late game, and they can sit back and relax almost.
Yep. I mean, looking at the composition that SKT have, a lot of it is very nice in terms of zone control from Swain once he actually joins a team fight. The initial team fight setting that Rakan Galio provides, and also just, I mean, Bang is going to be firing. And the problem with a Mordekaiser is the lack of range that he provides later on. He's not going to be doing too much.
Gank into the mid lane, stun, locks down Mission, gets back to his turret, but locked down and uses the stopwatch. Dreamer is here, gonna knock up Blake, but interrupted coming out of Wolf. Great Rakan play. Bang joins the fight, ultimates forward, pulls back the feathers, but it's not going to get the last one onto Mission. Machi disengaged.
Yeah, and even though they're alive, remember, they all have to base. This could be a great opportunity for SKT to push up and take this tower. I mean, I'd do it. Where are you going? Why did they all leave the lane?
Not everyone. Duel and FLICKR are still here. Come on, Raz.
Drake needs to release the next song of I'm Upset. It keeps happening. I will always be upset.
Why does that make you upset? Do you want to come talk about your feelings?
All right. So that team fight was phenomenal from SKT. Remember that at these kind of games, you saw the last one, how that turns out. Back timings are so important. So yeah, sure, you don't get a kill for yourself, but you know that two crucial members that are going to be looking to wave clear mid had to go back to base. And so to counteract the push that M17 had mid, you want to be able to do that yourself. You had Bang for that one. So I think that they were too concerned about their own back timing. And I think that they actually could have pushed the limit a little bit more.
Yeah, well, they go back to base, they pick up a few items for themselves. Rod of Ages complete got down. FLICKR's not done just yet. Still components of the first item coming out from Bang. They don't get the mid lane turret. They're slowly chipping away at the bottom lane. Outer Machi have done a good job at that. And next Dragon's going to spawn in a minute 30.
Yeah, I mean, right now that's going to turn into a double Cloud Dragon for M17 with the pressure that they have if they can actually convert.
They're going to run real quick. They get it.
Look at the Sejuani right now. She's already gone to the next step, doesn't need the help. Oh, wait a second. Look at
in
top
the top lane. They already got some good chip damage onto 3Z, forcing a flash. He
Oh!
flashes forward, pulls it back, and gets the Force Lightning. Solo kill in the top lane for SKT.
Pure confidence, and the man has TP too, so let's play. I don't know about this one, M17.
Response coming out from Machi, looking for a fight in the bot lane. They try to lock down Blank. Faker joins in, can't get Dreamer, but so much damage. Gets the taunt, great pulverize, but Machi not long for this world. Even Swain joining this fight. They separate Duel. They're going to be able to take down the Mordekaiser. He slowly tries to heal back up, but the low sweep will be enough. 2 more kills for SKT.
They tried to burn down Blank, and guess who was the real damage dealer there? Bang was going straight through them, and ultimately, SK team coming out ahead. They don't even need the TP from Thal. Thal was just not really needed in the situation at all, and it just going to mean that SKT is finally going to get this tower. Really poor teamfight timing coming out of M17. I actually saw no opportunity for them to actually come out ahead in that one.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work out. They lose the solo kill. They lose the team fight. SKT push for the turret. Not enough damage to take it down yet. 3Z and Mission will hold on to that structure for a few more waves, but the gold is now dead even. SKT equalized that lead that Machi were able to pick up. But they're not out of the woods just yet. Not out of the woods just yet, Raz. Still very even. Machi still have a good composition to look for these fights. They just have to set up aggressively. So what went wrong in that setup?
In that setup, remember with the top lane that ended up happening, if the burst actually did come through on towards Blank, if they got the kill, you still needed an exit strategy because you don't have consistent damage. The issue with M17's composition is that if Darius isn't in the team fight, then you're looking at a Zoe that's all skill shots. Sure, if she's having a phenomenal time getting Sleepy Trouble Bubbles, then that's something you can play around. But Mordekaiser ain't gonna do it. Take a look at this. The damage, the follow-up ain't there. The team fight setup from Galio, well done. Zoe, sure, she got some deeps on towards Wolf, but from that point forward, you're getting full damage from the Xayah pick, and it just doesn't make too much sense on the side of M17. You have to play around your comp. The primary damage dealer is going to be Zoe if she gets a pick, or the Darius if he's going from front to back.
Bang's having a great time in Spore. If the only range champion that Machi are going to pick up is Zoe, means that 4 melee champions are going to be in range for that Xayah. I can't find the word. Penetrating auto attack that goes through multiple melee champions. During that replay, Machi able to pick up another dragon. That Dragon Boy looking for a turret in the bottom lane.
There we go.
Could be the first turret. SKT might have lost out on the push in the mid lane, and Machi will break first structure.
Yeah, but now I actually favor this from SKT because, yeah, sure, you lose the bottom lane tower and you might have to still defend if the wave is coming in through. But the Rift Herald means that you can look to make a play off of it. Because a lot of times people will say, oh, you know, Rift Herald turns into 1 tower, maybe you just a little bit more. But with the composition that they have, they can actually commit around the Rift Herald with the composition with the Galio Rakan dive. So I want to see if they're set up around blue side jungle, if they have deep enough control wards so they can hide Wolf, if they can like hide Blank's flank as well. So there's a lot of opportunities you have there.
There are. But we get a chance to look in at the items that have been picked up by multiple teams. Because yes, SKT can look to set up with the Rift Herald, but Blank's going back to base. They're pushing him in ways. Everyone's recalling to pick up items here and there. Rod of Ages is stacking for both of the AP carries of SKT. Storm Razor's being picked up by Bang going for that item, not going towards the S River, which was nerfed slightly in the 8.13 patch. For the side of M17, Trinity Force being picked up by Darius. We see Double Aegis being picked up by Sejuani as well as Alistar. There is not going to be Banner of Command in this patch. That should be going towards Locket, you'd expect.
Yeah, and just like focusing on towards, before we see what the Rift Herald actually damage it can do, towards what Bang end up building, because going the Storm Razors here, initial, best bang for your buck, right? The fact that you can actually get the initial crit item, if you're in a team fight, you deal a lot more damage than what an Essence Reaver could provide for you. Well, Essence Reaver, a lot of people say, well, actually, no, but you get so much, like, you can get a second cooldown off of your E. A lot of your feathers, actually, that's fantastic for you. But that's assuming that you actually use your ultimate in the beginning of the fight, and I don't see initial dive from M17. So I don't see a reason for Bang to use his ultimate right at the beginning of a fight. So compositionally, I don't see that being a thing. I think that Bang has showcased that he's comfortable running the team fight front to back, and then he can hold on towards his ultimate if there is a second wave, if a Dreamer walks up to him later on in the team fight. So how the fights are played, I think, is why the items actually came through.
Zonius was the first item to be picked up by Duel, trying to mitigate some of the damage that will come out from SKT's roster, try and get away from some of the crowd control as well. Mordekaiser will be packing a punch in these fights, but has to get access to the backline, which seems to be difficult with this composition. But SKT during that conversation, Raz and I just had, were able to take down bottom lane out to turret with a cute use of the Rift Herald. Top lane was pressured by Swain, and Thal was able to take that down as well. Which picks him up a nice 1,000 gold lead over Machi.
Yeah, and from this point forward, if you're SKT, your base timings are just going to be focused around if you have stopwatch, if you have control wards ready in prime. Right now, Wolf, who's going to be their secondary, primary engage point, depends on if Galio is going to be going in there first or second, depends on how that fight ends up going. So having stopwatch means that, you know, he doesn't have to worry about an exit strategy. He can be confident that the team will be on top of him, and the fight will be won by the time he's out of Golden. And the control wards, they have now, of course, Blank going back from base, having 2 control wards, all towards Baron, with the outer turrets being picked up, all 3 of them. It's easy roads from SKT that they can just focus on this Baron buff.
I mean, 5 control wards in the inventory of SKT. Only 2 for the side of Machi at the moment. We'll get the double support item being picked up by Duel as well as Dreamer. But it's only Dreamer that has completed his so far.
And the one comeback mechanic you'd have from M17, like even though they're not building the control wards, at this point the control ward should really only be focused on their own side jungle. They don't want to be pushed so far out of the pit that they have no idea what's happening. If SKT is pushing forward, if they're already starting a Baron, they want to make the track easier so SKT can't rush it. But their comeback potential is around Darius. As long as Darius is with the team when they're moving towards Baron, then they can look to protect them a little bit more. Mission could try zoning, probably getting proper poke off. But if the first ultimate comes down from 3Z, then that's something that's a lot of free damage that Darius can deal in the fight. So watch out for how the team fights are played, and if 3Z's in the fight and is protected.
If he gets protected. I mean, there's a Zeke's Harbinger being picked up by Machi. No traditional AD carry, so that should be going on to 3Z as well, trying to get the extra damage from Darius, but it just looks so difficult to get to the back lines and try and take down Bang. Double items being picked up, Phantom Dancer's second. Zeke's being picked up by Wolf as well to give him extra damage in these fights. All the protection from Rakan, from Camille, coming out from Galio as well.
Oh, the flank.
Looking for a fight. Machi going to glass on towards Swain. He pops to the Demonic Ascension, and Galio's going to jump in, giving the damage reduction. Getting the double knock-up as well. Looking for the taunt on the front line of Machi, slowly taking damage. Wolf going to escalate the fight, dive into the back lines as SKT get the first kill. Going for Mordekaiser next. The death ball is piling on through. 3Z trying to join the fight as well, but forced to flash away. SKT will settle for the single pick and move back towards objectives.
And they didn't even need Bang for that one. There was a slim corridor, but there was no way for any bleed procs to come through. FLICKR's in a pretty rough position, but I think he's pretty confident.
He just wants to go home.
He should just walk back with the team. You know, so yeah, just throw more sleepy trouble. It's all good.
Does get back to base. There was a control ward there for him. And SKT with that pick onto Crash are going to start up the Infernal Dragon. No smite available for Machi unless Zoe is able to pick up one. The feathers will be enough from Bang. The smite is there from Camille. SKT take the Infernal Elemental Dragon.
Very least, Machi's not losing everything they're trading. They
Still
can get this
tower.
mid lane tower. So it makes it easier for them to defend the eventual Baron wards that get placed down. If Baron, or at least if SKT's in a position where they have the wards placed around Baron, playing around it, then you can push an extra wave. You can threaten the inner tower. Just depends now what Machi have to do, because it has to be reactive.
But isn't it okay for SKT to play that way? Isn't it okay for them to take it to the late game? Because they do have the AD carry. Machi are very melee based and not too many ways to get into the back lines. If they can sit back and scale, it should work out well for them.
Yes, but remember how unpredictable Zoe can be as a champion. Like, saying that, yeah, the front to back, if the structure's proper, if the discipline is there from SKT, it'll work out at the end of the day. But you never know what happens if a Sleepy Trouble Bubble picks off Wolf or Bang in that instance.
Yeah,
you don't have real frontliners on this team on the side of SKT, so when damage gets built up, it's going to be unfortunate.
Suddenly it's bedtime at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I know that's a normal day for you, Raz,
What?
but Zoe makes it true for other champions on the Rift.
I wake up unreasonably early. In fact, I have like 4 or 5 hour sleep schedules. It's pretty bad. It's rough out there. I'm talking about, you know, other people. Actually, you sleep too often. I'm going to put that out there.
I sleep too often?
Hell yeah, you do.
I have insomnia, Raz. I never sleep. Meanwhile, they're trying to lock down Blank. Good crowd control, bouncing him back and forth, jumps to the tree, and Wolf tries to save him. Great big shields of the Camille. Ultimate come out from Mordekaiser, but they can't kill SKT's jungler. Instead, a double kill picked up by FLICKR. Trouble Bubble to disengage, and SKT turn around the pick.
The quick follow-up is what matters. They think that they can get the kill on towards Blank. Immediately, FLICKR sets the field. So 3 kills down. I mean, that's rough life for Machi. Maybe they'll look to try and defend this.
Looking for the fight. Thal's going to be the target to start things. Pops the stopwatch to stay alive a bit longer, but 3Z's looking for the dunk. Jumps in towards the Baron pit. Baron getting very low. No smite from Machi, but FLICKR decides to turn. Blank taking a lot of damage. So is Swain. 3Z can't heal up. Exhaust a little bit too late. Despite the blinking health bars from SKT, they still win another fight.
Yeah, but you know what happens? At least Machi could say, we can fight for another day. Baron is still up. They lost a lot of members in that battle, and it's becoming one-sided, but you can see how desperate they are to defend this from happening.
Can't get the Baron. SKT pick up a nice goal lead for themselves. Mission can't stop the recalls either. 4,000 is the lead that SKT have acquired. No Baron buff, but it's 8-1 in kills. Very dominant in LCK's favor.
Let's take a look at this, big one, because, of course, another engage on towards Blank. How many times does this have to happen before you realize that the team fight, the follow-up, is way too quick on the side of SKT?
Door not opting to flash over the wall, not there in time to follow with all that crowd control. Layered not incredibly well by Machi either. Blank gets out safely. All the protection coming out, all the crowd control from SKT as well.
Yeah, they're starting to realize, Machi's starting to realize the real, let's say, deficiency in their composition. The fact that, you know, it's nice to have a Mordekaiser for the laning phase. It's nice to have a Mordekaiser for the dragon pickups that you can have, but remember what you sacrifice in doing so. And so you have to really say, okay, I understand that our team fights are going to be harder, so even though Crash finds a proper pick, that means we have to get the kill. Like, it has to turn into something, but it's never turning into something. They don't expect how much damage they do.
Is that all they sacrifice with the Mordekaiser pick? Just weaken team fights? And why is it going to be weaker for Machi?
It's weaker because a lot of their consistent damage isn't guaranteed. It's not guaranteed because it's Mission working around his Q, his Paddle Star, and his Sleepy Trouble Bubble cooldown. And if the first one misses, well, guess what? Sad day, you provided 0 damage, you have to wait for the next one. And if you get a primary target shot, that's great. But if your Q hits stall, then that's not very effective. That's not impactful. And right now, SKT's playing well enough that if 3Z has ever joined a fight, they focused him almost immediately. So SKT's team fighting right now, they understand who the primary targets are going into this.
With the primary targets being 2 frontline members and a Zoe. Easy for SKT to try and lock them down. Mission's done a good job of avoiding these fights, but he's only been in the single kill that's taking place for the side of Machi so far. Be able to fight back as effectively, but they haven't bled out. Only 3,000 gold separates the team, which is a good lead for SKT. One that they continue to work on, one they can use to control the Baron pit. Set up for plays like this.
And remember, Bang is at a point where he's still going towards his Infinity Edge. Still has the first of 2 BF swords. So once he gets that one, he's completely online. He's super confident in looking for these fights. So maybe you can try and pick some of these fights and see if Mission can get successful bursts before he gets to that point, before the itemizing actually happens.
SKT can wait. They can try and scale up, wait for that item for Bang to be available. They do, however, stop the play around Baron buff. They send Thal to the bottom lane to deal with that minion wave. Gives Machi time to clear up the wards around Baron pit. That's all they can really do at the moment. No objectives for them to take just yet. They're not going to try and start the Baron just yet. Dragon's up in 25 seconds as well, but that's all the way across on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I think Machi has done a good job at clearing up vision on the top side. Having at least one ward to catch out if SKT goes to that and tries to rush it down. So they can really focus the game around the next dragon. So they still, at the end of the day, have a fantastic composition around a Mordekaiser. The one thing that he does well with is that you can't really fight into his dragon, and you can look to at least try and dive around it as well. So Machi can play around the timing of dragon. We'll see if they can actually get it for themselves.
But difficult. Yes, you can play around the timing. SKT can pull a fast one and try and sneak Baron for themselves. They have a Xayah. Consistent damage with the Infinity Edge picked up as well.
Unlucky. The pick went through. So yeah, right now he's pretty strong. Has 60% crit at the moment.
Oh, but he is the character.
But he's real strong.
This is his rift right now.
It's not going to feel like 60% whenever he starts to fight with his first Storm Razor. Gets the instant crit, and then of course is just going to be gambling from that point forward. Once the next crit item comes through like that, it's going to be really difficult to push Bang off.
Certainly is. It's already difficult to access any damage into the backlines against Whiff. Wolf playing well. FLICKR playing this one well. And he's even 3-1 and 4, has a Luden's Echo to go with his Zhonya's Hourglass and stacks on his Dark Seal. Things not looking great for Machi at the moment. They're not out of the game just yet. SKT have done a good job of punishing them so far, and SKT were behind for the majority of the match. The early game didn't look too good. Something which Machi historically has been good at. They've been good at the early game, but this recent split, they're 0-3 right now. Their early game has been abysmal. It kind of shows here. Ahead of SKT, but not taking anything.
Yeah, and something that they could always go back on is the fact that they have some strong control mage players. Not speaking towards Mission, Apex is a strong one, known for his Cassiopeias. Earlier today played the Anivia, so their team fighting can be strong. And so that's likely what they're banking on in this game specifically. I mean, that's all they really can bank on. But they're a team that has proven in the past that a team fight can come well into their favor. So that's why it's not lights out just yet. No, it's just very difficult.
Especially with SKT's competition taking them late game. 31 minutes into the match as well. We saw a lot of fighting earlier. Mountain Dragon was taken down. What's next? We're going to look towards Baron because SKT have set up around the objective a few times, but they haven't been able to find a pick to start a fight yet.
They should be confident enough to set up deeper. Right now, they don't have enough control wards. In fact, FLICKR, I'm going to focus on you a little bit. What's that ring doing in there? I understand you're at 10 stacks.
It's 10 stacks.
You're not going to evolve it. It's not going to happen.
You don't sell a 10-stack ring, Raz.
Sell it.
It's the law of solo queue.
Give me control wards.
Upgrade to Mage Ice.
What?
Yes.
I'll be upset if that happens.
Why?
He is a Galio.
He's on a roll. He's feeling himself.
Okay, maybe, you know what? You know who's going to be feeling him a little bit with the back of his hand?
Coma?
Their coach. Coma's going to be upset.
Taking off the belt?
I mean, that's one way to do it. He likes to feel the impact of the hand.
We do not support violence in this video game, Raz. Violent video games create violent people. You take that back.
Never.
Only one control ward currently for SKT, but they're still trying to rush this Baron, walking over the Scuttle, which Vision has expired now. They're just going to take it. No response coming out from Machi. They still get the Baron. They don't need your control ward, Raz. 10 stacks in the Dark Ring, don't need to steal it.
Look, all right. It comes down to conditioning. They recognize that Machi was playing way too passively within the lane, so they're like, we'll just rush it. Bang is strong enough. But under most circumstances, please build a control ward. You're going up against Machi this time round, but the next time round, you're going to be going up against Invictus Gaming.
Don't listen to Raz, upgrade it to Magi Soul Stealer. So much damage, unlimited potential and power. Baron buff is snuck away by SKT. 3 minutes for them to work with it. Good item power spikes for Bane. FLICKR with 3 complete items and a few components. Good damage will come out from Mission here, or not?
Guess he wasn't confident enough in that one.
Yeah, I thought that Wolf will block that for the team.
Just remember, if he commits to that, that's a Rakan that can engage right on top of him. That's probably something that he was afraid of at that instant.
But SKT are attacking on 3 fronts. Thal in the bottom lane. They've got the duo bottom laners in the top lane being protected by Blank, who's shadowing that split push in the jungle. Even FLICKR pushing in the mid lane by himself. Baron buff doing some work for SKT, breaking open this game, about 7,000 gold ahead of Machi now.
Yeah, at this point, if you have Baron, the easiest call is to literally just send everyone in every lane. Galio ain't going to be pushed by nobody at this point. He has a way out at all times. And if you try and
Bye-bye.
relax. Oh, wait a second.
There's still a fight topside of Matt. Wolf jumps in for the initiation, gets knocked back into the base, but that gives access to FLICKR! Come on, Aslam! Jumps in immediately, double stopwatch. Bang's not afraid of the backline, gets more kills, great damage. Treasy will try and get 1 kill for himself, but the feathers, they'll get ripped back once again. Machi get jumped on, double kill picked up. FLICKR gets 1 for himself as well. Only 1 member, Crash, left alive.
Unbelievable. FLICKR was just taking a sip of tea back at base. Not only did he base, TP'd in, and then pressed ult, and then won the fight. Easy winnings for SKT.
Bouncy Castle, happy fun time for SKT as Machi play their final game in groups and unfortunately do not pick up a win for the LMS team. SKT get a point on the scoreboard, pick 1 up for the LCK squad, will take down the Nexus and look strong in doing so.
And it was a frustrating way to play. It was like as if you had Singed in every single role because every single time it was based off of Machi starting the fight. They started the fight. It was on top of blank. They're like, okay, he gets picked off every time in the LCK. This should be easy. Let's move to the next step. And then you have FLICKR on top of him. And it was an easy win from SKT with the fight that they had.
Man, that feels like 2 games in a row, though, for the LMS, where they've done exactly that. Saying, okay, this is what we do. This is how we set up. This is where we counter your place. This is how we counter the champions you picked. The strategy you've put in place. Why is it not working? And again, it happened here.
I want to give last team more respect on this one. I think that Mad had played properly. KT was much more cleaner. In this instance, Crash was just invisible. With the time in which he had a lot of time to look for plays mid lane, to go towards the bottom lane, to get the game rolling quickly because that's what their win condition was, did not happen. If he had access towards his ultimate and he had the ability to play around Sleepy Trouble Bubble mid, please go mid much earlier on. A lot of the times it was just mission on his own, and then the bottom lane was open for market for so long. So a lot of the criticisms comes towards him initially because he had the key and he just dropped it.
But we had questions about SKT sending this roster to Rift Rivals. Wolf and FLICKR worked so well in that match. Had the combo, the wombo combo duo to allow Thal as well as Bang to deal the damage they needed to in those fights. Blank playing it well early as well on the Camille pick for SKT. They weren't as aggressive early into the match, so we didn't see the pick potential come out from their composition. But once it was online, we saw what they could do with their initiations.
And that was it. I mean, literally this. Every single time you're on blank, he's not the real target here. Bang comes in and is able to clean up. And so they didn't have to do anything. Beautiful. And that's the frustrating thing with the compositions that they're rolling with, is that, yeah, they banned out Yasuo, so yeah, FLICKR's not an issue. But he's played Galio repeatedly, and if Bang can play the champions that he is confident on, the style that he's working with in the late game team fight, he will make it count, and that's what happened here.
4th seed from the LCK playing well in day 1. We still have another match to play tomorrow, but unfortunately it's the last game we'll see from Machi during the group stage. And unfortunately for the LMS, after their victory in the first match against RNG, Flash Wolves pick up the win against the MSI champions. They've lost every game since in day 1. That was the final game that we'll see from LMS today.
Yeah, I mean, Flash Wolves made a mention of that. Swordart did mention that the experience isn't there for the rest of the teams in the LMS. These are the few opportunities that they get in an international stage, and these are the lessons that you have to learn.
Well, we saw some signs of life, but unfortunately it was not enough to take down the 2 LCK teams that we saw today. So after that match, we're going to send it back to the analyst desk to break it down.
Thank you so much, Fish and Raz. Once again, Papa Clement, let's break it down. I actually like that name a lot, the Papa Clement combo. Let's break down that SKT win because there were a lot of things.
We need you.
There were a lot of things that SKT did right. I think we'll start with the draft, first of all, because it seems like SKT, they just came in and they just showed, yes, they do have that experience we just heard about from the casters.
Yeah, I really like what the LCK is doing. They're not letting the fighting teams from the LMS actually pick any fights. If you watch the SKT draft right here, they essentially got 4 counter picks with their flex champions, and every single one of them has AoE CC. That is the biggest counter to a bruiser composition. When they're trying to run at you, when they're trying to string their damage together, they can't do it because every single member right there can stop their period of damage. The only way that Machi was actually going to win this game was if the Zoe was extremely, extremely fed, and that didn't happen.
And there's even more layers to the draft, so let's keep it up on the screen. The big takeaway here is the first round from SKT. That's the genius, because you see Rakan Swain, and you think, is that because Zaya's coming in next? But you also have to remember, Rakan Swain's a complete bot lane in the LCK. Very often, you start the grand entrance, and then you get the Swain passive. You can do a lot of damage there. Swain can be in the bot lane. Rakan Xayah could come through and be a funnel strategy in the mid lane. Swain can go top or bot and just be there to wave clear with his Q. It could also be in the bot lane as a complete duo. They only got the information right at the end. The reason why they went Mordekaiser in the 3rd round, Machi, if you can still see on the screen, is it does fine into the Swain. You can try and lane into the Swain. And then Xayah comes out, and you're right. It seems like out of nowhere, the rabbit has been pulled 4 times for 4 counter picks. And it's also, it's a double kill in many ways because it's very easy to execute. Ultra reliable comp, Hextech Ultimatum, Hero's Entrance, we knew all about that. Even more engage everywhere. And the Swain top, which is kind of the only weird thing, because we don't see Swain in the top lane very often. Just think about his original role pre-rework was beating melee champions. You don't beat them anymore, but you certainly farm safely against them. No worries at all.
Yeah, can still be played right here. I really like how LCK is doing their blue side drafts, and this is something that Machi should learn about. You always throw your flex picks out, just like KT did with UCal.
Yeah.
There was no guessing where that Shen was, where that Talia would be. But their first 3 picks were very obvious. Zoe, Sejuani, and Alistar. They basically said, okay, we're going to these 3 lanes, and it opens the door in this meta to counter the compositions very well holistically. And that's the big point about 8.13, about 8.12. It's about how your entire composition actually functions and works against the other team.
Of course, that being said, we do still have to celebrate some of the success that we saw Machi utilize. They were able to get first blood on FLICKR. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of that replay in the LMS over the next few years.
Oh, yeah, we're going to play it for 2 years until the LMS is disbanded or something like that. But this is the best that we've seen Machi in their own region so far. Such a clean play with the communication coming in with Crash. Crash, the newest member, has not had a lot of success with their own mid laners, but they spot out the gank coming. They play the 3v2 with confidence because they already had the knowledge there, and this is just such a rare sight.
The ward over the wall was genius, because first he knew to early flash to get away from the Galio. So it looked like a prediction, but actually they had the information. And then it actually allowed them to get the kill, because they knew Camille was still out of action. So it was definitely high value, and that was definitely the best play we saw from Machi this game.
Yes.
It seemed almost as though we saw them try to continue that momentum in the mid game when they took that fight in front of Baron, looking for the picks onto SKT, trying to hunt down FLICKR. But it turns out they were the ones with the misinformation, because SKT can collapse from just about everywhere in front of that Dragon Pit.
I mean, we saw some passages of play. When we roll the second replay, it's just a lot of, yes, that pick worked, but then also Galio counters pick comps as a rule.
Yeah.
Swain is able to do things. The Swain solo kill here was a really nice moment for Tal, who had gone unmentioned, really. And you're right, you shouldn't hit it, but it's the maximum range never move. Miscalculation from 3Z, he goes down. But that's not the end of this. Consider, on the bot side of the map, a pick isn't made against Galio with Swain still having TP. The deck was stacked against Machi.
And just look at this team fight. The damage dealers can't even walk inside because of the AoE CC. Rakan instantly with the 3-man charm into the backline. There's no damage coming forward. And it's just a cleanup from then on out. So SKT reading the composition really well and countering really well.
And of course, that final fight that decided the game for SKT. It was a slow and steady rollout from there, with SKT picking up pick after pick, kill after kill, until they did what we expect from a team with this much prestige, able to bring down Machi with that final fight.
I mean, it was nice to see that SKT closed the game out rationally, played pretty much the same as the SKT that's been winning recently, did it on picks, a comp that made a lot of internal sense, and also answered the enemy team like we talked about in terms of the counter picks. And it was with Wolf as well, who's been criticized. Wolf has actually won 0 games for SKT this year, 0-6 in the LCK. He comes in, a non-factor, does his Rakan thing, very, very reliable Rakan player. Think back to Worlds for some highlights from him. But from here, it's a gold lead, and it's just a clean close from SKT.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, even though Machi did not take any games in the group stage, they have grown up. This is the best that we've seen them this split so far. 1-6 in the LMS so far, but they're going back to what they know. De-emphasizing duel into the ADC, not protecting him as much, going into the bruiser compositions, going all forward. This is what they were known for, so I want to see them take this style when they go back to the LMS.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly still a chance to see this team play again.
They weren't embarrassed,
right?
That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
They weren't embarrassed at all.
Yeah, well, a good performance from Machi. Again, we do have to celebrate their performance. That said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break before our final game of day 1 of Rift Rivals.